Cultural appropriation. That's a fun subject. Yes. Always a discussion that ends up in rational, rational opinions. Always. It can never go wrong. Never go wrong. It's like a fun, light-hearted, lunch conversation. Not one of those deep dinner party conversations that you might have at your dinner parties. Do you have your dinner parties? Do you? Do you have dinner parties? I think you're lying. But this headline here, or title of this piece, looks like it might actually have some rational thinking behind it. It's in the Guardian. That's amazing. Well, let's have a look. We need to pause. Pause. Do it Damon Dash style. Pause. Before claiming cultural appropriation, says Ash Sarkar. The debate, tied up with racial oppression and exploitation, is a difficult one, yet not every interloper is a colonialist in disguise. Is Gordon Ramsay allowed to cook Chinese food? I don't know. Is he? You have to ask a Chinaman. Is it okay to dress up as Disney's Mona? I don't know who that is. Is she black? Can Jamie Oliver cook jollof rice despite plainly not knowing what it is? Well, if he doesn't know what it is, how's he going to cook it? Exactly what is cultural appropriation? I don't know, something that's been made up, maybe? To take a glance at Good Morning Britain, the ITV show that never takes its finger off the pulse of Middle England's clogged arteries, you think, there's kind of some undertones of hatred there. You think it's a question of white people seeking permission to have fun. And in return, new media outlets have guaranteed traffic from anxious millennials by listing things that fall into the category of problematic when white people adopt them. Black scents, bindies and box braids. Well, look, braids have been around for fucking thousands of years, and dreadlocks, and all kinds of people have had them. Like, you can't appropriate hair. Like, come on. Otherwise, you're appropriating hair the other way around. Like, what's with appropriating white hair? Black girls, I ask thee. Like, come on. You can't cook Chinese food. We've had fucking Chinese food in the UK for hundreds of years, right? Look at spaghetti, right? I'm not saying that's Chinese food, but, look at a lot of, like, staples of the Italian diet. Like, they're staples of our diet now. Like, we used to have spaghetti bolognese every Tuesday as a kid. I didn't know it's fucking Italian for years. I didn't fucking care. It just tasted alright. Do you think there's lots of Italians getting bent out of shape? They probably get bent out of shape when you don't do it properly. I know that. That's a fucking thing. But, like, seriously. Honestly. Like, and appropriation, if you want to talk about what the concept of appropriation, is not specifically something that white people do either. Look at the Wu-Tang Clan. Now that is cultural appropriation. Have you got beef with the Wu-Tang Clan about adopting, Chinese culture? I think not. And neither should you. Anyway, why has cultural appropriation, an imperfect term mobilized in imperfect context, become such live ammunition for socially conscious? Because they're not social and they're not very conscious. It's a joke that they would be called that. It's just extremely amusing thing to call yourself when you are not that. It's like me saying I'm pretty good at everything. And what does it mean, especially for people of colour? I hate that term, people of colour. Like, we are all people of colour. We see colours. I have a colour. There is... When we turn our fire on each other, it is striking that a phrase intended to sharpen a political analysis of life under post-colonial capitalism, you're boring me, seems to have drawn the most blood between people who share overlapping experiences of racism and displacement. The debate over cultural appropriation has been around for decades, Black writers and artists from the Harlem Renaissance voiced their concerns about the distortion of African cultures in some modernist artworks and wrote at length about the demeaning caricatures of black identity in minstrel shows. Yeah, I don't think minstrel shows were like a cultural appropriation. I think they were just fucking backward. Like, I think that's totally different. Elvis Presley was said to have exploited Negro music. Well, yeah, because it was good. You know what I'm saying? If people like something, do you know what I mean? Just like, you can't just hold on to everything. Like, you know? You can't hold on to everything. These people, you know, yoga's well beneficial, but these motherfuckers will tell you not to do it because you're like, they were like, no, leave that for the Browns. Like, what? It's beneficial. Like, isn't sharing culture like how we fucking enrich ourselves? Well, apparently some people just steal it. Apparently, you know, it's theft. I mean, define theft. Where's your ownership? Do you have the deeds? The artist Kenneth Coates Smith wrote one of his first essays on the subject in 1976, entitled Some General Observations on the Concept of Cultural Colonialism. He never actually used the term cultural appropriation, but he was the first to bring together the Marxist idea of class appropriation. See, this is the problem with this whole thing, is it just stems from like these Marxist ideas, which are just wacky man things. You know, if you're over 30 and you like Marxism, you need to grow the fuck up. Right, the dominant social and like what? The class appropriation in which notions of high culture are appropriated and defined by the dominant social and economic class. And cultural colonialism, which describes the way Western cultures take ownership of art forms that originate from racially oppressed or colonized people. Like, what you go? Like, what exactly? Anyway, this is important to bear in mind. Our modern understanding of cultural appropriation is highly individualized. It's all about what Halloween costume you wear. Who cares? Like, there's a fact of the matter. You can dress how you want. If I see someone wearing one of them fucking Vietnam hats, right, and they ain't Vietnamese, I think you just look stupid. But I'm not going to go and punch you in the face and go, give it back! Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like white girls who wear bindi spots and you know, dress up in saris. I think they don't look. I think they look silly. Only Indian girls can pull that off. Some people just can pull stuff off because I don't know. But maybe that's a prejudice in our minds. You ever thought about that? I don't know. I don't really care. Or anyway, Halloween costume you wear, or who's cooking biryani? Oh, so I shouldn't cook biryani. Like, but like, we didn't steal biryani. Like, we started when Indians came to the UK is when we started eating their food. I'm pretty sure the people that went over to India back in the day as part of the colony probably turned their noses up at the food because it made them poo themselves. But they just weren't used to it. But the way in which the idea was first used to describe a relationship of dominance and exploitation between a global ruling class and globally subjugated one, the idea that cultural appropriation is primarily a form of erasure, a kind of emotional violence in which people are rendered invisible, came along later. And this is the sticky point. Is it right to level the same criticism at an act of cultural borrowing that doesn't have a clear angle of economic or political exploitation as for one that does? Just shut up. You're thinking way too much. You're thinking way too much about nonsense. Like someone dressed up as a fucking American Indian or something at Halloween is like, what? If it's problematic, then what? But obviously they're not making money from it. But you're not making money from it, so it's like, what? So what if like, some people cook other people's food better than they do? Yeah, guaranteed. I bet my curry goat is better than most Jamaicans. I'm going to throw that out there. Some people just smash it. I can't help being great. This month, news broke that Inuit singers were boycotting Canada's Indigenous Music Awards over the nomination of a Cree singer who, it is claimed, utilises specifically Inuit throat singing techniques without coming from the culture herself. Oh, fancy liking something so much that you wanted to do it yourself, and then you just stole it. All right. You know, like, no one has a problem. Have you noticed that no one has a problem with Eminem like all rappers, young and old, black, mainly black, because most rappers are still black, have no problem with him being white and also being the greatest. Like, they will continuously say he's the greatest, most successful, and no one has a problem with that. No one says he stole. No one says he stole, but he did but in your view, he would have appropriated that music. Doesn't matter whether he grew up around black people or not. Still fucking appropriated it, didn't he? According to you. But the people haven't got a problem. Do you know why? Because most people don't have a problem. They don't even know what you're talking about half the time. Anyway, The Guardian's own coverage of the story headlined, "Canada, one indigenous group accuses other of cultural appropriation in a ward row." Basically a non-story, as usual. Treats the two different cultures as interchangeable. The point of commonality, both Inuit and Cree being Canadian indigenous people, positions a shared history of dispossession by the white settler colony as erasing cultural and artistic distinctions. The implicit question seems to be, why are you lot even fighting? You're all the same anyway. Right. Daniel Heath Justice, a Cherokee professor of Indigenous Studies at the University of British Columbia, points out that the row isn't the result of oversensitivity or prickliness. The throat singing technique in question was banned by Christian missionaries and discouraged by colonial governments. In his words, "We're talking about continuity in spite of traumatic, sustained and systemic multi-generational assaults on every aspect of our beings, including our artistic practices." There's many practices in Judaism that come from oppression and keeping it in secret. Do you know, have you ever heard the Jews sort of ramming it down your throat about the systems of oppression that came to be, why they practice in certain ways, whether it's the Dryad or fucking other shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, certain things that the Jews do. Do you even see what, you ever notice the Jews sort of go banging on about it all the time? You ever notice that? Ever notice the Jews banging on about stuff all the time? Do you ever hear the Jews whining continuously? Have you ever heard a Jew whine continuously about stuff? Only in jokes. Oh, yeah, they seem to just get on with it, don't they? Yeah, anyway. Yeah, I find it strange that recognition of the pain caused by colonialism is being projected onto fellow indigenous artists. It's possible to argue against a colonial viewpoint that homogenizes those whom it dominates without using language that holds responsible people who have also been affected by centuries of dispossession. God, honestly, people who write for Guardian just ramble on and on and on without making enough points. It's worth pointing out that the conflicts between racially oppressed people often result from the fact that the colonialism worked on divide and rule. That's how it all works. Certain ethnic, religious, racial, indigenous groups were deliberately privileged over others in order to create a sense of investment in upholding the power structure. I don't know. Is that deliberate, or did they just get on with them better and they were more compliant? I don't know. You'd have to show me some history books. Today, arguments rage about non-African Americans participating in and making money from hip-hop culture, or whether black people should wear South Asian head ornaments. All important things to argue about and spend your time on. I get that it's tempting to see such pop cultural phenomenon as a replication of centuries-old colonial dynamics. Jesus Christ, all these people love colonialism, don't they? They love talking about it. But maybe our own frustration at the erasure of difference risk erasing certain crucial differences in itself. What? But maybe our own frustration at the erasure of difference risks erasing certain crucial differences in itself. Shut up. If you were talking at me like that, I'd have to go, shush. Talk English, would you? Not all cultural borrowing. That's not a slant. It's just literally, this isn't plain English. This isn't English. This is just English words mangled together. Like, there's always, oh my God. Oh, I know the Sun is fucking trash, but take a few fucking pointers from the Sun. Just smaller sentences, less words, get to the fucking point, alright? Because this kind of writing, I'm gonna have to fucking lay down the fucking law right now. This is divisive writing. This is entitled, privileged snobbery in word form. It always is with these sort of articles. This is designed to dumb you down and make you feel dumb, rather. Like, it's us and them type shit. It's like, oh, you can't read my fancy words. This is oppression. Like, this kind of language is oppressive. It's oppressive. It holds people down. It holds people back. Straight up, it does. These motherfuckers bang on about oppression. This, like, using gobbledygook, just this kind of writing is just, it's problematic. I've always thought that. Like, shit, this is what holds people back, man. Just overuse of language when things can be said very simply. You know, people never get to the point, just rambling on and on and on. Like, blah, 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 blah. Fucking pisses me off. Like, really does. Really knocks me off. You have to read a sentence like a few times to even understand what the fuck they're going on about. Like, don't be out there trying to make me feel fucking stupid. You're stupid. Not all cultural borrowing is a form of social violence. Oh, right. Some of it's just cringe. I think most of it's just cringe. I thought London MC Wiley got it right when he talks about Canadian rapper Drake being a culture vulture, profiting off the UK music scene. Drake is not profiting off the UK music scene. Okay. Like, Drake? What, Drake? The biggest artist on planet Earth. How's he profiting off it? Drake's just like, watch my video on Drake being a culture vulture. I'm not going to go into it again. But, like, come off it. Godfather of Grime didn't need to raid the library of SOAS University of London to come up with his critique. Straightforward listen, bumberhole did the trick just fine. Well, maybe take a leaf out of Wiley's book and talk fucking English. But young, socially conscious people of colour do need... Young, socially conscious people of colour. What a fun group that must be. Do need to be a bit more honest with themselves about what's driving our political interventions when it comes to cultural appropriation on this issue. I felt the anger myself, such as when someone very earnestly told me how henna actually looks better on pale skin. Or when I see Indian food staples marketed by English gentrifiers. Shut up. Oh, just be quiet, would you? I don't know. Maybe henna does look better on paler skin. Fuck knows. It stands out more. That's for sure. Like, some things do work better. I don't know. Some things a bit clearer. Like, I mean, that's a subject you wouldn't want to get into, even though it's like based on fucking what you can see with your eyes. But like, it's all subjective, isn't it? That's an opinion as well. So it's like, God, calm down. You know. There's a very particular feeling when you know that the identity I wear on my skin is an outfit for someone else. That culture is valued more than the humanity that produced it. But there's another uncomfortable feeling lurking at the bottom of it. When you're a second or third generation migrant, your ties to your heritage can feel a little precarious. Yes, well, yes. You're a foreigner here. You're a tourist. When you're a second or third generation immigrant. What about, so fourth generation? So second or third? Fourth? What about fourths? Fifths? Sixths? Your ties to your heritage can feel a little precarious. You're a foreigner. Oh, I've already read that bit. Sorry. And home is the magpie nest you construct of the pit. I think someone's actually just hammered a nail through their hand next door. Oh, well. That's what you get for keeping me up. Anyway, bits of culture you'll hold close. The appropriation debate peddles a comforting lie that there's such a thing as a stable and authentic connection to culture that can remain intact after the seismic interruptions of colonialism and migration. I'm not suggesting we stop using the term cultural appropriation altogether. It's clearly meaningful when talking about systems of exploitation and dominance, but we do need to become a lot more discerning about how we use the idea in discussing interpersonal dynamics. There's a difference between understanding how these frustrations have a politicized background and treating these issues as sites of political contestation in themselves. Not everyone who participates in misguided attempts at cultural borrowing is a colonializer in disguise. Colonizer. Some people are just sad tryhards. Ooh! Look at it. Colonialism is fucking gone. Like, what do you want? I saw, and again, yet another article where I've seen fuck all examples of what someone's going on about. Like, there's some argument between two indigenous minorities in Canada. That's got nothing to do with it. And about the only examples you got, the only things you can sort of bring out is what? Gordon Ramsay cooking Chinese food, dressing up as Disney's Mona, and Jamie Oliver cooking jollof rice. And a little bit about Elvis, the classic one. But like, what else? There's just no solid examples of what you're talking about. You just go cultural appropriation, cultural borrowing, cultural appropriation. It's just talk, and more talk. With too many words put into sentences, it's like, again, where is the evidence and examples of what it is like, of what you're talking about? Because you're saying cultural borrowing, cultural appropriation. Like, where's the solid examples of this being, a confirmed thing? Like non-African Americans participating in hip hop, or black people, or whether black people should wear South Asian head ornaments. Like, and you talk about Drake being Drake isn't, and then you throw in culture vulture, which is different to cultural appropriation. Like, Drake isn't appropriating British culture, so I don't know what you're going on about there. I don't, like, why is that even an example thrown in there? Why is that there? Why is that there? And then something about a very specific thing about being a second or third generation migrant. We got fucking mad generations deep of migrants in the UK. It's been invaded so many fucking times. Jesus, like, come on, half the motherfuckers there ain't Celts. I am. Bloody original British people, me. This is like, Indian food staples marketed by English gentrifiers. Who are they? Where are they? What's the example? Who are you talking about? You just talk. It's just talk. Like, it's just all like talk. There's no solid. You mentioned this thing here. What Halloween costume you wear? That probably goes to another bullshit article. Who's cooking biryani? Like, some guy, Cherokee professor, talking about. What's that got to do with being British? It's just. And just think some example of your idiot friend who said henna looks better on pale skin. It's just all talk about. It's just something about nothing, with loads of words thrown in there that you read, and if you don't understand what's going on, then you're supposed to feel fucking stupid. That's what these kind of people do. Like, this is something. There's certain things from when I was a kid that haven't changed. I haven't changed my opinion on. There's the weaponization of language to dumb us, to make us feel dumb, and to dumb us down, and the way your language is changed and used to be divisive, to label people. And I've always known that. I've always known it's bullshit, and that opinion has never changed, because it's always true. But other things have just totally changed my mind on, totally changed my opinions on, consistently, over and over again, backwards and forwards on some shit. But that one, and a couple of others, always been the case. Like, that's why I don't like these kind of people. That's why I don't like this kind of writing, because it's pointless. I just wanted to go through it with you. And hopefully, as I was reading out most of the sentences in here, you're there going, what? Same as I was. Anyway, check out all that. And, say hi to your auntie.